This video is sponsored by Chepeku. Chepeku offers thousands of beautifully human-made maps, scenes, and now tokens thanks to their fantasy bundle. With new content added every month, your fantasy worlds will come alive with Chepeku's maps, each with multiple variations and customizable tokens that can be tailored to match your exact vision. You can get all current and upcoming maps, scenes, and token bundles for the price of 2 with the fantasy bundle at go.chepeku.com/deficientmastermaps. But if you prefer sci-fi, well, they have those too. Get access to both bundles at go.chepeku.com/deficientmastermaps. Thanks again, Chepeku, for sponsoring this video. I have this addiction. Maybe you do too. It's not to dice or to miniatures, and it's definitely not to D&D itself. No, I'm addicted to advice. You ever get that itch in your head that says, "You're not ready for this"? But instead of picking up the rulebook or scheduling a game, I open YouTube, and there it is, an endless buffet of tutorials, guides, hot takes, and tier lists, all promising to make me a better dungeon master. When I first started this channel, I wanted to share everything I'd learned over the last decade of gaming. Why your prep sucks, why your combat sucks, why your NPCs suck. I'm only here because sucks was in the title, sucks. And for a while, that was enough. I made videos about what I knew, built this little corner of the internet, and I was proud of that. But here's the part I've been hiding. With every new upload, I was spending my best pieces of advice, and I was running out of things to say, things that were worth your time and my editing budget. Slowly, I had this creeping doubt that Deficient Master was just a shooting star, that I in reality was a fake. Because of this teeny tiny problem called life, I haven't had a consistent home game. So after burning through my backlog of tips and tricks, I'd sit at my desk staring at the next upload deadline thinking, now what? And deep down, I knew the answer. I just didn't want to talk about TTRPGs anymore. I wanted to play the darn thing. That was part of why I made D&D but actually Monopoly and the other games. I wanted to show how I DM. Not just talk about how others should. I wanted to be a real dungeon master again, not just a content creator with opinions. But then I got the chance when Baron Durop from Dungeon Masterpiece invited me to be a guest game master at Green Dragon Fest 2025, a high-ticket event with big names, which for me meant big expectations. So of course I said yes before realizing, oh, I've never actually ran a game for strangers. Let alone strangers who paid real money to sit at the Deficient Master's table. The same Deficient Master who spent months telling people your game sucks and this is why. So I was a little bit nervous. It felt like running my first game again, only this time there was an audience and a brand. So I did what I always do when I'm overwhelmed. I dove headfirst into research. I changed that adventure every other day. I rewatched Game Master videos, some of them my own. I was watching the same advice over and over, just said by slightly different looking white guys and PNG tubers. And it felt like I was being productive, but I wasn't learning anything new. What I was actually doing was hiding. The more I consumed, the worse I felt. Because there's no amount of advice, not even Bob's soothing tones on his woodland adventures, that can erase that fear of looking dumb. Green Dragon Fest loomed ever closer, and it was about a week before the event when finally, something clicked. I was trying to solve a confidence problem with information. I was trying to use my intelligence stat for a wisdom check. Like, if I just watch one more video, I'll finally feel ready. But that feeling, it never comes. Because there is no final, magical piece of advice that turns you into the perfect GM. There's no moment when you arrive. And here's the thing nobody tells you. When you keep researching any sort of topic, you get progressively less value out of it. At first, it's exciting. Everything feels new. But then, you start hearing the same advice over and over. Make a session 0, keep your players engaged, don't railroad, prep more, prep less. None of it's bad advice, but it stops being useful when you're just collecting it instead of applying it. And yeah, it can get toxic. You start hoarding tips like Pokemon cards. You're looking up how to handle downtime in D&D when you haven't even played any uptime in D&D. There are so many different hats a game master has to wear during a game that can't be taught by proxy. Because running games isn't just about memorizing a list of best practices. It's a life skill. You get better at it the same way you get better at anything, by doing it. You don't become a better GM by watching other people play. You learn by running games, by screwing up, by learning and trying again. That's it. That's the whole secret. You just start. Oh wow, D&D Tuber tells you to play the game to get better at the game. Yeah, just do it. But if saying just do it was all it took, we wouldn't have a game master shortage now, would we? So how do you just do it? First, stop trying to make the perfect game and instead make the first step as small as possible. Shrink that space between I want to run a game and I'm running a game. What does that look like? It's creating a single location instead of a world. It's preparing the upcoming session instead of a campaign arc. It's to stop trying to be impressive and instead focus on being present. It's inviting 6 friends to a game, hoping for at least 3 to show up, and not being so picky on which out of your friend group this would be the perfect table for. So that's what I did. I stopped chasing the perfect idea. I stopped trying to impress. I picked a simple system that I could teach in 5 minutes, and when I finally sat down at the table of Green Dragon Fest, I was nervous, but after about that first hour, I was free. Because I wasn't pretending anymore. I wasn't performing. I was playing. And those games, well, they weren't flawless, but they were real and memorable. And I learned more about how to be a great game master there than any video essay I could have made. So if you're wondering when you'll be ready to run your first game, or your 50th, well, this is it. You're ready. You've been ready. You don't need the perfect pitch or the perfect players. You don't need more research. You need to start. And yeah, your first few games will be messy. You'll make mistakes. You'll second guess yourself. But that's how you learn anything. Running tabletop RPGs gave the awkward, sheltered teenager that I was a confidence I had never felt before. It helped me find my voice. And these silly little dice games, well, they shaped who I am today. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. There is no final stage of preparation. There is only the moment you decide to start. And you don't have to be perfect to be a good game master. You just have to be willing to sit down, run the game, and keep showing up. You're ready. Go play some games. Or take the blue pill and watch this next video.